memory part, page 18. I'm going to ask people from here, just kind of in the round table, just to read one part, and we are going to discuss about that and move to the next person. So could you start from here, and then we will go one by one. Please, Ben.
The memory?
Yes.
I believe my memory has been negatively affected by my drug use. I seem to experience involuntary memories related to my using, such as when I pass by or think about places where I would use. I'm experiencing lapses in short-term memory, forgetting things as recent as what I had for lunch or if I returned a phone call. I feel like this may cause others to lose trust in me.
Okay. So let's go for the next page. And have you ever those parts? Please go ahead. Yep.
Have you ever found that your memory doesn't work as well as it used to? Found it difficult to remember the information you have learned recently? For example, new phone numbers, new names, new addresses. Forgotten the food recipes you always cooked. Forgotten the routes that you always took home. Found it difficult to memorize shopping lists or names from familiar people. The questions above are some examples of situations that you need to use your memory. The more yes responses, the more you need to give care to your memory.
Okay. So just an overview about the memory. So let's do one of the exercises that we have. Let's go to the exercise number 7. Number 7, page 21. Do not see the other page, just this page. Okay, look at this for 25 seconds. You're going to memorize that. This page, number 7. Number 7, yes. Memorize whatever you have there. Now go to the other page and find the changes. Good.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, that's exactly. When you see others are struggling as well, that makes a good feeling.
Yeah, this is really subtle.
Yep. Okay, let's go to page 26 and read few suggestions. Emma, it's your turn. Please.
Few suggestions. Be more mentally active. Honor the fact that your brain needs exercise along with your body to be able to regain its fully integrated functions. Be willing to do brain exercises which are systematically designed for improvement of brain function. See your next poster. Progress gradually into difficult and challenging levels of brain exercise, much like you might increase the weights in the gym exercises. Follow the recommendations of a counselor, recovery coach, or other helping professional in regard to the type and level of mental exercises you practice. Identify and describe other recovery activities you may be aware of or already may be using that you believe are useful.
Okay, let's go to the page 28. Read that, Emma, as well.
Be a healthy foodie. Include more fruit, especially berries and dark leafy vegetables in your diet. Their natural antioxidants and vitamins will help your brain to recover injured and inflamed areas. Eat lots of oily fish such as salmon and tuna and eggs. Their micronutrients will provide your brain with materials to restore its disturbed structures. Reduce salt intake and make intentional efforts to lower cholesterol.
Okay, so you can see that this is session 1. Now you have a sense about the material that you are supposed to cover in session 1 with attention and memory. Okay? Just the amount of the material. So it is not that you need to be careful to be able to cover the material. There are lots of different games. And as you can see here, as attention and memory are really contingent to each other, it's important to have them together. That's the reason that we put them together in the session 1. And then session 2, we discuss about, as you can see here, brain-body connection, feeling bad, sleep, and arousal. Okay, so we go to session 2. Feeling bad.
I often experience negative feelings like a dramatic sense of guilt, becoming stuck in the self-abasement and a profound fear of abandonment. Experiencing these feelings around my drug use makes a great deal of anxiety, even confuses and angers me. Certain words and sounds can be distressing, causing me to feel intensified anxiety and stress. These negative feelings result in an intense drug craving in me. Despite evidence from experience to the contrary, I can still find myself believing that using drugs is the solution to relax and feel better.
Okay, so it's about feeling bad. Okay, that is the other side. Let's go and read the part that we have in page, the brain-body connection part. Page 38. Please.
I do not feel like I am in touch with my bodily senses anymore. When I'm stressed, craving, depressed, or anxious, I do not feel like my mind and body communicate. Therefore, I'm not aware what my body may need at certain times, such as when I need to hydrate, when I'm hungry, or fatigued. It's like my mind and body are completely out of touch with each other. My emotions often present themselves through bodily sensations, so when I don't pay attention to my gut-level senses, the result is an inability to control these emotions.
Okay. So let's go to page 40 and do the exercise that we have in page 40. This exercise it's a totally different type of exercise. Okay, so you are supposed to see this picture and describe the physical sensation and emotions that this specific guy is feeling right now. Please write them down. So, physical experiences, you can put yourself on that position and think that if you are in that position, what are the feelings that you would feel? What are the physical experiences? How can you read what is happening inside your body? And then what are the emotions? So 2 separate parts. Physical experiences like heart racing, and then emotions. How many physical experiences, physical bodily experiences, and how many emotions you would be able to report? The more details you can provide, the better you are in connection with your body and your emotions. Okay. Lori, would you read what you have?
Sure. I don't know if I did this right. Some of the physical sensations would be, like you said, the heart beating quickly, the wind against their body, the feeling of themselves in space, either falling or flying. It could be either one of those kinds of sensations. And then some of the emotional content, they may feel very powerful, excitement, freedom, pleasure, fear, and anticipation. Okay.
What else do you want to add to that? To the physical experiences, what are the things that you can add to that?
Muscle tension.
Muscle tension. What else? Breath. What else?
An adrenaline response or a stress response.
Stress response. What else?
Might be cold.
Might be cold. That's good, yeah. What else?
Feeling in their gut.
The feeling that they got. What would be the feeling that they have in their gut?
I mean, if their nervous system excitement can kind of, they have the same kind of like butterflies.
Butterflies,
yeah.
Okay. So you see that if you want to kind of report that, you need to put yourself on that position and you need to feel what is happening. You need to experience that, virtually experience that, and then record and report what is happening inside your body. And that is what we call kind of being interoceptive aware of what will be happening if you would be in that specific situation. So the more you can put yourself on that specific situation, really feel what is happening when you are exactly on that occasion, then you would be more aware about what is happening inside your body. Okay? So what are the emotions, Lori? Let's see what are the emotions you can add to what Lori has read. What are they? Please. Euphoria. Excitement. Fear. What else? Release. What else? Adrenaline. What else?
Thrill, giddy.
What else? Feeling alive. What else?
Survival instinct.
Survival instinct. Good. What else? You can see that people who are more elaborate in terms of finding more terms to describe their emotions, they have a higher level of emotional literacy. Most of the time, they are really much better in terms of experiencing their emotions and controlling their emotions. And you can see in groups that there are people who are really illiterate in terms of even reading what is happening inside their body or being able to report the emotions that people might experience. So it's a really interesting experience in the group setting to see how people report that in the level of group. Okay, so that was the brain-body connection. And then let's go for page 46. Please.
Arousal and sleep.
Right.
I have a difficult time falling asleep and staying asleep. I wake up startled and anxious. I can feel my heartbeat too loudly to remain anxious, excitable and easily aroused. I find it very hard to become calm once I'm experiencing these states. In contrast, sometimes I feel drowsy and sleepy when I believe I should be alert during work. My body, mental state, and emotional needs feel heavy, and I also find physical movement and motivation to move very challenging.
Okay, good. So you have the sense about what arousal and sleep mean here. Let's go to page 50. Jack, would you read page 50 as well?
Okay, sure. Practice arousal and sleep. Create a sleep haven. Prepare your bedroom for a relaxing, easy sleep by making it dark and quiet. Turn your electronic devices to silent and offer yourself comforting support, such as an ideal pillow. Pamper yourself occasionally. Utilize spa activities such as massage, sauna, hot tub, manicure, pedicure, etc. whenever possible. You can even use your home bathtub as your personal spa. Enjoy the benefits of warmth and heat. Take a warm shower to ease tension in your muscles. Set your home water on a therapeutic temperature to relax your joints and muscles.
Okay, so that is the part 2. So now you have a sense what we are talking about in part 2 and how we are communicating that specific understanding about the brain and those specific functions that we are covering in part 2. Okay, let's go for part 3. And part 3 is going to be about decision, control, decision, and movement and speech. Okay, page 60, please.
Decisions and control. I can make a decision to refrain from using, but many times I'm unable to follow through with my decision. I feel powerless over my ability to not use, even when I don't want to, especially if I've recently used. Once I'm in the presence of and actually see my drug of preference, I lose control. I cannot successfully choose to not use, as if a powerful force takes over and I'm at the mercy of craving my drug, using despite my resolve not to. When I'm craving, I feel emotionally unstable. My mood changes quickly from happy to sad, angry to rage, without much stimulus to incite the change. It just happens without my permission.
Okay, that is about decision and control. And then we have specific games about decision and control. Let's do the game 1, page 62. Please do it as soon as you can. You can start from right now. Okay. Was it easy? Easier than before?
Got a rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beginning is a little.
Okay. Let's go to the page 64 and do another exercise, the classic Stroop. And the problem in the print is the green and yellow are really close to each other in terms of the color. You need to be careful. The first one is green. The second one is Yellow. Okay, so we are supposed to read the colors together, not the word. Okay, so shall we start? Sarah, are you going to lead that? So you are going to, let's do it together. So let's do it together. So we are going to read that loud, but Sarah is going to be the louder voice here. Okay, so from the first one.
Green, yellow, red, yellow, blue, blue, red, blue, green, 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 yellow, red, blue, green, yellow, blue, green, red, yellow, green, red, blue, yellow, blue, red, green, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue, green, red, red, yellow, yellow, blue, red, red, yellow, green, blue, red, yellow, red, blue, red, blue, green, red, yellow, blue, red.
It's not easy. You can see it. Yeah, especially even if you do it in a group, it's not easy. You can see that it's, and this is the good example that you need to inhibit something. So it's a good example of inhibition. So you are supposed to, you basically have two processes going together. One is the really rapid, fast one that you can read the word, and the other one which is not very fast, which is reading the color. So you are supposed to suppress the first one and bring out the function that is not that much fast, which is reading the color. So you can see that we call that inhibition. So we are inhibiting something to be able to move forward. And you can see that you need to have your attention as well. So we do not have any control without being able to have flexible attention here. So you need to be flexible, meanwhile being able to inhibit something to be able to kind of do the task in the right way. So you can see that how your inhibitory muscle, and you can see that this is different from the first example that we have done, the focus attention one, that we were supposed to find something like a hidden object somewhere. So finding a hidden object is another way of using attention, but this one is a totally different way. So you can see that how these muscles are quite different from each other. So these are really good examples of getting people engaged in discussing about these brain functions. Let's go to page 68.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why isn't there a brain box under these?
Because we have been thinking that would make things a little bit more complex. So as you can see here, in the brain gym, we have brain boxes under each exercise discussing about those things. We usually ask therapists to do that as much as they can and as much as they see that it is doable in the entire group. So we try to make the first package as low threshold as possible in a way that people can get engaged. So we realize if we add more material inside, that might be too much for people. So that is the main reason we try to make it as light as possible. And we need to cover a lot of material here. As you can see that we need to cover 10 different domains, and it's not that much easy. So even giving people a sense after these 4 sessions would be fantastic. Just to realize there is a brain here, it's important. So even at that level would be something really, really important. So let's go for page 68 and 90 plus.
I often find myself searching for the right words in conversations, words I used to know and the context for which I seek them. I feel very limited in my vocabulary resources, very unlike I used to in conversation, which was confident and adept. I find myself stuttering and or groping for words. I also feel like my coordination and dexterity has diminished a great deal. Movements and tasks that used to come very easily for me are much more difficult, and I feel sluggish. My driving skills and confidence behind the wheel have diminished, and this makes me very fearful of being at high risk to have an accident.
Okay. Andy, would you read also page 78?
Be more physically active. Try to make time for regular exercise and other physical activities.
Your brain and body generate chemicals during rigorous physical activity, including workout, for brain recovery. Engage in aerobic exercises as recommended for someone of your age, medical condition, build, and gender to promote holistic health, but avoid too much intensive exercise. Try exercising in group settings for support, encouragement, and meet the social needs of your healing brain.
Good. Good. So that is session 3. So we cover decision making and control and motor. These are the things that we cover in session 3. Okay? Now let's go for session 4, which is about awareness, social cognition, and positive feelings. So, to read that awareness part, please.
Awareness and insight. Despite what some of my friends, relatives, and coworkers might say, I do not see myself as someone who has a disease, needs medical care or other treatment. I only drink and use recreationally and can stop anytime I want to. I simply don't want to. I am tempted to use because it feels good when I use. I like the effects produced by alcohol and or other drugs, but cannot see in the using brain state how they hurt me. Therefore, I do not see the benefit of abstaining or asking for help.
Good. That is about the insight. Would you also read the page 88?
Social cognition. I have difficulty identifying and expressing my emotions clearly and understandably. I realize that I cannot accurately pick up on cues coming from other people about how they see me or interpret my behavior, so I have lost my ability to empathize. Because I cannot access this type of insight, communicating with family and others is especially difficult for me. I also seem to be unable to and uninterested in making new friends.
Okay. Let's do exercise number 4, page 90. Number 4, page 90. 91, sorry. Exercise number 4. Okay, so that was a social cognition exercise that we saw together. And the last one, the feeling good. Jasmine, would you read the last one to just wrap up things? 96.
Feeling good. The seduction of drugs for me is highly rewarding and beckons me loudly and frequently. The rewarding experience begins with simply thinking about my drug or obtaining it. That induces a kind of pleasure for me, that even thinking about them, not just seeing it, causes this change. The degree of illness reward from my drug profoundly replaces other formerly pleasurable things. I seem to avoid doing things and going places that I used to enjoy. Without using drugs to change the way I feel, I do not seem to have effective skills to entertain myself or possess a basic interest in doing previously enjoyable activities of life.
Good. Would you also read page 108?
Be patient and hopeful. Treat your brain as you would any other part of your body that needs extended rest and healing for a period of time to experience recovery. Rely upon the example of other injuries healing over time. Accept that you will achieve your brain health gradually. Gather with and call upon people in successful recovery to benefit from their experience, strength, and hope.
Good. So that was the last part. So these are basically the 4 sessions that we are going to cover. And I think that if you go through them one time, you can have a kind of a good sense at how you are going to run that. It seems easy and it is not really complex to run. So people feel that if they are going to talk about brain, they need to have an extensive amount of, let's say, experiences before or knowledge about, let's say, cognitive neuroscience. Or it's not really the case. So I realize that people can easily run the classes and they can be really competent in terms of kind of managing different things that people can ask inside the classes. Okay, some last practical notes about what we are going to do. How to instruct the patients on the process of recovery. Okay? And what does it mean, this cartoon? Connection,
like he's reaching for his ideal self.
Exactly. So it is about how you basically, you are supposed to help yourself. You are supposed to find a way that you are the person who would be able to save yourself. That is the idea that we are trying to encourage in this package. 10 major points. So we want to say that there are hopes for the process of recovery. That is a really important point. We want to avoid to put people in a sick role, putting them a label that, okay, my brain is impaired, that's the reason that I cannot work, I cannot function, that's the reason I go back and use drug. We know that recovery is time consuming. I usually tell people that, okay, if your skin would be kind of wounded, how long would it take to recover? 2, 3 days, 1 week. If your arm is broken, how long would it take? It would take something like a few weeks. But your brain is injured, so it definitely gets better, but it takes time. So you need to spend enough time. And when your arm is broken, what do you do with your arm? You are just careful about how it's happening in your arm, put it in a cast, getting sure it would not be, you would not put too much pressure on that. So exactly how you are dealing with any injured part of your body. It's important to deal with your brain in the same way. Be patient about that, providing enough space and enough time for it to recover. Your progress must not be sensible. You need to get sure that when you kind of put a small tree in a place and you just pour water, it would definitely get larger over time. You need to be kind of faithful that it's going to happen. The recovery would be happening. Sometimes you cannot see the process. You need to be motivated and invest time and energy for the process of recovery, and you need to take care of the recovering brain. You need to, as you are taking care of a broken arm, otherwise you cannot be in the process of recovery. You need to avoid stressful events, because stress is exactly like putting a broken arm in a position that you are putting too much pressure on something that is still broken and it's not healthy for your brain. You need to sometimes feel the pressure. It's fine if you, inside the classes, you feel that I've learned too many different things today. It was a little bit kind of complex today. It's fine. When you go to a gym, sometimes when you go out of the gym, you just feel tired. That's fine. If in the class you feel that we have covered different things in 90 minutes, you have done lots of trainings, so your brain feels a little bit tired, that is okay, because you are basically training your brain. So it is good if you feel tired at the end of the class. It's important to tell them that we are giving you an idea about what is happening inside your brain, and that's a really invaluable experience, not only for your process of recovery, but also for you to be a kind of a responsible person and a productive person in the society. And at the end, we need to get sure that people would realize that how it's important to keep their brain active. So if they want to have a really good life in long term, they need to keep their brain active with different ways that they will learn in the package. Okay, what are the take-home notes? So it's really important to consider the process of recovery in a holistic way. So sometimes we just consider recovery from one aspect, let's say from the spiritual aspect. But it is not going to happen when we do not cover the entire process of recovery. And it is the case not only for a drug addiction, for other fields. Let's say for traumatic brain injury. People realize that if somebody has a traumatic brain injury, if you just leave them alone and feel that, okay, it's something like a wound, and it would be recovered by itself. If we just leave them alone, that would get better. They realize that something like 1/3 of the people, if you do not do anything for them, they would get better. But 1/3 of the people who have traumatic brain injury, if you do not do anything for them, they would not get better. And 1/3, they can even get worse over a time. So sometimes in the field of drug addiction, we just feel that, okay, if we just help people to be abstinent, if we keep them in a residential center, that is okay, because then the brain would start to recover by itself. It is not going to happen. Many patients, they need additional things in the process of recovery. It's not just leaving them without drugs. Sometimes you can see people with substance use problems. They are abstinent for 1 year, but they are still not a really productive member of society. Or we are giving them, let's say, methadone for a long period of time. They are using methadone for 2 years, but still they are not functioning well in the society. So it's important. It's not just about making them abstinent from drugs. We also need to train them and provide them with trainings that sometimes they didn't have any opportunity in their entire life to be able to receive those trainings. They have been using drugs from the kind of age of something like 16 years old, and they have never used any sort of trainings to be able to use their brain the right way. And now they have this opportunity to learn how to use their brain in the right way. So it's important to talk about recovery in a language that people would understand. And also talking about the process of recovery with a language that also includes brain as an organ that is going to be recovered. And it definitely would reduce the level of stigma that people would feel. So I think that talking about brain with the recovery with the brain language would definitely reduce the level of stigma. And you can even communicate with their families about the same issue. And I think that even there are many potentials to talk with families about what we are discussing today in terms of how families could be involved in the process of recovery and realize the importance of brain recovery. So they need to realize, and I have seen that in other fields, let's say in dementia, I've seen patients that their families, they have been really angry about them, why they are behaving like this. And when you start to tell them that, okay, it's kind of a disease, this is what is happening inside their brain, you need to know that it is not your dad that is behaving kind of disinhibited these days, or kind of weirdly these days. It's the disease that is making him behave like this. And they have a totally different behavior after the education session. So it's really important even to educate families and to let them know that this is what is happening inside the brain. If you are just angry and just yelling at them, okay, do this or that, it's not going to happen because it is a problem that is happening inside the brain. So it's really important to even kind of talk about these things with the families and providing them with motivation that change could happen for any time and forever. So there are people I've heard that they say that, okay, you cannot teach new tricks to an old dog. I've seen that specific kind of proverb several times in training sessions that we had, especially for people who are a little bit kind of older in the sessions. And it's not true. I'm 42 years old, and I can see there are many things I can change myself. And I can see that even at the age of 80 years old, there are still many things that I can change in my brain. So right now, we know that brain is much more flexible than what we have been expecting before. When I was in the medical school, I was thinking that the knowledge at that period of time was at the level that we have been thinking that the brain would not be able to change very much after the age of something like 25 or 30 years old. Now we know that brain could be different over time. And even right now, a few years ago, we have been thinking that the brain cells would not divide. But right now, we know that even the brain cells could be replaced by new brain cells. So that is the new advancements that we call brain plasticity. So there are many potentials for that. People need to have personal goals. You need to give them personal feedback. That's the kind of the thing that Jasmine is doing, and I really love the ideas that she has in terms of giving them personal feedbacks and optimizing what they are going to do based on their personal needs and considering those personal needs to optimize what are the practices that we are providing for them. Specific instructions that are going to be important, how you set up the tone of the meeting in a way that would be helpful for the people who are in the process of recovery. Those instructions are going to be important. How we provide them with metacognition awareness, just about trainings, also games, and then asking them to see those specific functions in their daily life, and the next day, the next session that they are coming back, asking them, okay, have you felt kind of more aware about how your attention is working in your daily life, and tell us more about your personal experiences last week about using your attention, your memory in the best possible way. So thinking how you can get them more engaged and let them use whatever you are talking about in their daily life. It's really important to transfer whatever we are providing them in the daily life, because it's not just about what we are going to talk about inside the class. It's about how when they leave the class, they would be able to use the same concepts in their daily life, how they can integrate those terms in their daily life language and their vernacular. Okay? I believe that cognitive rehabilitation is not just about, let's say, having better memory. It's about relapse prevention as well. It's about resocialization as well. So if we want to bring them back to the society, we need to actively help them to cognitively rehabilitate their brain. Otherwise, it's not possible. So we have a population of people who are in the recovery at the age of something like 30, 35, 40 years old. And they are still going to be in this society for the next 40 years. But I've heard that a lot from different people that, I mean, they are done. I mean, we do not have any hope about them. They are going to consume the resources in this society for the next 40 years, and they are not supposed to be an active member of this society. That is the right belief that we have, an unfortunate kind of concept that people develop because we are not actively helping these people in the process of recovery. There are challenges for doing recovery, and we have discussed about some of those challenges today together. We have discussed about the available packages that we are developing, so we will be definitely happy to share those packages with those who are interested to do these exercises. As I told you, there are specific trainings. We already have some of these workshops available on YouTube, so you can just Google my YouTube channel. You can find those educations on YouTube. I would recommend you to just go through the educations that we have in the package for 4 sessions, so you have a sense about how those things are going to happen. And those who really like to go beyond that, I would definitely be happy to share the Brain Gym package that we have. Even if you go through the Brain Gym package from the kind of A to Z one time, then you have a complete understanding about what is happening inside. And I've done that entire package one semester with the students in the cognitive neuroscience course, and not only discussing about these games and the others, also talking about neural correspondence of these functions and discussing about, okay, how these processes are happening inside the brain and what are the brain parts are involved, what are the networks that are involved, discussing about those things. So I think that even when we teach cognitive neuroscience courses for graduate students, the course is supposed to be integrated with the real life experiences and trainings to see how they can use those knowledge, that specific knowledge in their daily life. So that is how I think that cognitive neuroscience should be perceived and be used in the society. So there are definitely lots of potentials, and I hope that if you get interested to these ideas, you would kind of join us. And Jasmine is doing a super nice job here in Richmond, and I'm hopeful that she would be able to kind of develop a group of people who would be interested to follow these things. And we are planning to run a pilot study here. Hopefully we'll extend that idea, and we can see great potentials, not only for basically substance users, but also in other clinical populations. And I can see that we can kind of extend those ideas in other groups. So, good. Right on time. So hopefully you will have the nice part of your day after the class. And if there is any question, I'm here to answer. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.